I'm here talking about Extraction 1 and 2. Both of them are on Netflix. They're Netflix exclusive movies, both starring Chris Hemsworth. And yeah, so these are probably some of the best movies, not best movies, some of the best action movies that I've seen. Like, so some of the best modern action movies besides John Wick. Obviously, nothing beats John Wick. Um, There is amazing cinematography and choreography and stunt work throughout both of these movies, both of them having um, a long, like a one take section. The first one has a 12-minute long one take, I'm pretty sure, and the second one has like a 20-minute one, I think. Both look incredible. They switch camera angles from not camera angles, but camera styles, from handheld to steady cam to crane shots to cameras being strapped on the cars. And that was some pretty wild stuff, and the camera going through cars. That's where this movie shines. It's action. And that's where both movies shine. The first one, the story is, well, the movie's called Extraction. So you would expect in an extraction. So there isn't Chris Hemsworth's character, Taylor Rake, I believe is his name, has is called in to extract this kid, and throughout the movie he goes through a character arc because he left his kid on his deathbed. His kid was on his deathbed. He left his kid to go fight in Afghanistan, and his whole character arc in the first movie is learning to like this new kid and save him from the enemy. And throughout this movie, there's lots of cool action scenes. There's another character which I thought was pretty character that fights our main character, but it's also good. So you're rooting for both of them to win, and it creates a pretty interesting situation. But it throws it out of the window pretty fast. Once they both learn what's really happening. Which I think would have been cool if at least one of them didn't learn what was actually happening, so they could keep fighting and you keep having to root for both of them, but only one can win. Kind of like if you've ever seen gameplay or played A Way Out or Detroit Become Human, where in A Way Out, two main characters have to end up fighting each other at the end, only one can win. I wish they dove a little more into that in the first movie, but it's whatever. Thinking what else to say about the first one. The kid actor is pretty good, which is rare to find. Overall, its Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty low, a lot lower than I'd think, considering the type of movie that it is. I thought it was quite good. The story, it's nothing new. It's kind of a pretty generic action story, but the action itself is where it shines very well. And the first one's story is better, I'd say, than the second one. Because in the second movie, the main character pretty much has the same character arc. And like the second movie, they forget the first one happens for the most part. They don't mention the events in the first one pretty much at all. The kid character from the first one never gets mentioned or seen in the second one. And Chris Hemsworth's character has the same exact character arc of learning to not turn his back on a child, and goes to save the boy in the second movie, just like how he saved the boy in the first movie. So that was was pretty redundant. And the second movie, I don't know. The second movie, Yeah, the second movie I'd say has better action. Purely, purely because of the 20-minute long take where there's no cuts. It's just one long take throughout the prison, to outside of the prison, through a building, all the way to the extraction point, which was phenomenal. Obviously, there is cuts there because that would be impossible to film without there being cuts. But you can kind of see where the cuts are hidden, not like if we were looking for it. But any movie that does that, you can tell there's hidden cuts there. Kind of reminded me of the Daredevil show, if you've ever seen that. Where there's a hallway fight scene in the first season where Daredevil goes through it and clears it out, and it's one long take, and that is a phenomenal action scene, one of my favorites in recent memory. And both of these movies probably beat that scene. So overall, amazing action. Story's a little meh. You've seen it before. Characters, um, Chris Hemsworth's character is pretty good, even though, yeah, yeah, pretty good, I'd say. Uh, then there's the character of Nick, kind of Chris Hemsworth's like handler, who handles the jobs and gives him the jobs. She's a pretty good character. The actor does very well. The second movie, the characters, besides those two that I already talked about, are pretty hit or miss. Mostly miss. Again, the little boy character is pretty much the same as the little boy character from the last movie. Besides, there's a little extra twist there with him. Well, spoilers. With him, like, calling the bad guy and tries to join them, but it doesn't work out in the end. So, overall, good movie if you want some dumb, fun action. Which, if you do, this is right up your alley. This is some of the most dumb, fun action you can have in a movie. The second movie does exactly what you would expect it to do, because the character is already introduced, so you can jump straight in to that action, and it's basically just 2 hours of straight non-stop action, which is amazing. The first one, it's not as much action in the beginning because it has to set up the characters, obviously. So if you want the most just brain dead, dumb, fun movie, just watch the second one anytime. That will get your adrenaline pumping for sure. If you have friends over and you just need a dumb movie to watch, boom, Extraction 2, perfect. Um, so if I were to rate these movies on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give the first one about like 7 out of 10, 7, 8 out of 10, around that range. Because the story, while being generic, and you've seen it before, Chris Hemsworth, obviously being a great actor, does very well, and really branches out here from just playing Thor. The second movie, I would say, is better, but not by much. So like an 8 out of 10 for sure. Like the first one, first one probably is like a 7.5. Second one's probably an 8 or an 8.5. No, that's a little generous. An 8 out of 10. So yeah, that was my review. Pretty good movies. They go by super fast. The first one especially felt like, well, both of them felt like 30 minutes. They didn't feel like long movies whatsoever, even though they're both 2 hours or so. So, see y'all later. Be good people.